I'm Greg Navarro here in Sydney. You're watching CGTN Facebook Live. We're here for what's being billed as the largest regatta for dragon boat races in the Southern Hemisphere. It's taking place in Darling Harbour here in Sydney. And I want to help explain a little bit about what we're talking about. I've got Chris with me from the Sloths, one of 300 teams. I think that's right. Actually, 3,000 athletes. 100 teams. Chris, tell me a little bit about this sport. It's not something you see every day.
No. I mean, dragon boating in southern China, in all of Southeast Asia is a massive sport. So I coach the national team alongside the club team that I coach. And over there, it's the premier sport in the country. It's a sport which is strongly tied to Chinese tradition. It's part of the Harvest Festival. It's got a very long history going back thousands of years. And everywhere you go in China, people know it, they love it, they do it. It's all over the place.
You're the right guy to talk to about this, by the way.
Yeah.
So, but what I've noticed with this is while the tradition is being honored, the athletes are here to compete. This is serious stuff.
It's a bit of both. So I compete at the national level, so I compete at state level, national level, as well as club. And it is very serious. I mean, we train, people are training every day, for example, and they're training every day year round, and they want to win, but they also want to enjoy themselves. You saw when we were doing the eye dotting, people splashing each other, we all know each other, we're all friends. But when you're on the water, then you're here to race.
I understand this is one of the fastest growing sports in this country, which makes sense when you've got access to water. Obviously, we're on an island at the moment, and this is a perfect way to get some exercise.
I think it is for a few reasons. One, it appeals to a range of demographics, and that's the key. We got a lot of juniors doing it because you can put 20 children in a boat, a steerer and a drummer, and off they go and they can train. But also, because it's a low impact sport, you've also got people at the other end. We've got people who are in their 70s who are still competing at the national level in their age division. But it's low impact or almost no impact, they're not getting injured. And then of course you've got the younger athletes who want to compete.
This particular race, from what I understand, it's about 2 kilometers. 2 kilometers.
No, it's almost 200 meters. It's a very short race.
200 meters. 50 seconds.
About 50 seconds.
Of intense paddling. It's over in a heartbeat, but that's a pretty good workout itself.
One slip and you're gone. So I mean, I spoke to my crew, which is just out there, the other crew, and they made one slip. They almost lost their first race by just that. It is a very quick race. It's like the 100 meter sprint, almost 100 meter run. But it is an incredible workout because to get here, you're training an hour and a half a day, three times a week on the water, and you're doing gym work and you're doing everything else.
Now there are lots of regattas around the country. I understand that you can take part in all year round.
Yep.
What makes this one stand out?
Well, this is definitely the best. I mean, the reason is really the location and the link to the Chinese history. So it's ironic that we actually dragon boat at Chinese New Year, because no one in China dragon boats at Chinese New Year, but from the seasonal point of view, it makes a lot of sense. But look at where we are. We're right in the middle of Sydney. We're right smack in the middle. The only regatta I think that comes close to this is the Hong Kong regatta, which is equally right in Victoria Harbour in the city. This is a sport that's done by people. It's not a sport just done by elites. I mean, even in China, everyone can come and jump in a boat and have a good time.
But I guess make no mistake about the competitive spirit in this particular event, isn't it?
Well, you're going to have athletes here that are Olympic class athletes. I mean, so coaching the national team, we have ex-Olympians in the team. And the other teams are obviously, large number of ex-Olympians and whole boats full of ex-Olympic paddlers. So it is incredibly competitive. But even your young ones, even your old ones, so you'll get someone who's over 40 who'll be incredibly fit.
Right.
I mean, they're training for it. They're training hard.
So how many races, we've got a 2-day event here, how many races will your team put in over that time?
Well, we've got 2 mixed crews. Each one of them will do 3 races. We've got a women's crew, 3, and a men's crew, 3. So you do 2 heats, you do a final. That's today. Tomorrow, it's a totally new set of crews. They're the corporate teams. So a lot of the companies from around here, Commonwealth Bank, Westpac, and those companies, they come and they learn, they do a bit of training, and then they come and they race tomorrow.
And what goes through your mind when you're out on a course like this? This one's relatively quick. I understand there are others that go much longer.
Up to 5 kilometres is the longest.
Yeah, what goes through your mind as you're out there, you're paddling?
Well, I'm a steerer, so as a steerer, I can't make any mistakes. I mean, even literally moving my weight will throw the boat off.
One sneeze,
anything, literally, blinking the eye. I mean, for me, it's very much about executing the race plan. The race plan's got to be executed clean, so even if you've got a corporate team who's only done a few training sessions, they're going to do better when they do what they're supposed to do. So it's my job as a steerer to get them straight down the course and to make sure that my calls motivate them to execute the race plan correctly.
Well, one thing, you're probably a good judge with this. How is the sport growing? How have you noticed the sport growing in this country over the last several years?
Well, I started on the board of the state association back in the early 2000s, and we had about 250 people doing the sport, and it was fragmented. I mean, they were off here and there and stuff. Now in New South Wales alone, we'd have thousands, probably 4,000 or 5,000 now. That's just sports paddlers. Plus, you've got corporate paddlers on top of that as well. You've got women who have had breast cancer and dragons abreast. They do it as an activity as well to keep them fit and active. So I've seen it basically, it's year-on-year growth of 20%.
As you mentioned, you've also got people out here fundraising for specific events, specific causes, using this as a vehicle to do that.
They do, yeah.
Getting a heck of a workout.
They do, and it's a popular thing, and anyone can come down. I mean, you could get in the boat right yourself. I mean, if you came on a training session this week in the appropriate clothes, you could get in, you get an hour and a half, a very good training session, and you won't be the best, but you'll get the hang of it, and then after a few sessions, you'll feel more comfortable.
And then one day the goal is to compete in a regatta like this.
One day you'll be here having fun.
Just the last thing for you personally, what do you get out of taking part in this particular
Well,
event?
it's interesting because, I mean, as I say, I coach at the international level, but I still see this as my primary social outlet. Because, I mean, this is a huge sport. In my club, we've got about 60 people, but I know people from every single club. So I can walk around, I've got a massive amount of friends here, you've got a lot of people that are doing the one thing. And it's good because you can make a lot of changes to a lot of people. So a large club means I can have a positive impact on people's lives.
We're hearing the
He's having a great time.
bringing in what's happening right now. One of the teams is walking down this wharf. They'll hop onto their boat getting ready for the next race. Chris, I want to thank you very much for taking the time. Tell me again the name of the team.
Sloths.
And so far, how have you guys done today?
Very well. We've won our close friends 2 heats, but the finals are coming up, so that's going to be a lot.
Thanks again.
That's great. Thank you.
All right, that was Chris from the Sloths. So let me just set the stage for you. We're told that about 100,000 people will come down here to the area known as Darling Harbour here in Sydney, Cockleworth Bay to be exact, over the next 2 days. 3,000 athletes will be paddling away. As you see, they're walking down the gangway now. This race just finished. We're told races are happening every 9 minutes, and the competition is pretty intense. We've got some boats that are heading out that way. Let's take you down now to the water's edge and see how close we can get. We'll make our way through the crowd here. Again, this is being billed as the largest dragon boat regatta in the Southern Hemisphere. It is a massive see now the lines. I'll have you just pan over there. The lines of the athletes are just finishing now. As we mentioned, about 50 seconds worth of paddling. It doesn't sound like much, but we'll show you in just a few moments the intensity that's taking place. Actually, there is a race going on. Let's see if we can work our way over this way. If we have a look just over here, not sure how well you'll be able to see them from this distance, but this is just one of more than 100 heats. And it's over in about 50 seconds. You got 10 people rowing, you've got one person on the drums, and as Chris told us, probably the most important position, the person doing the steering. And it's an incredible sport, really, and it's not something you see very often. Certainly it's not something you see down here in this very touristy heavy area here in Sydney, except for once a year, this weekend in particular. This is part of the City of Sydney's Lunar Festival, the Chinese New Year Festival, and this is one of the premier events that draws people from all over the country and all over the world. Remember, Sydney's Chinese New Year celebrations, one of the biggest outside of China, and once again this year it appears the draw is certainly there. Let's take you down, if we can, to the end of the dock and see if we can get a glimpse at some of the athletes who are also preparing for the next race. As I said, these heats are happening roughly every 9 minutes. The day started off with a pretty fascinating ceremony. They had some guys, I actually can't have used. We had some Taoist monks who were here earlier blessing the water. They then dotted the eyes of these boats. I don't know how well you can see they're very elaborate, adhering to a traditional form of the sports, but I think modern technology has certainly caught up. The athletes probably not wearing what would have been worn a very long time ago, and they take this very seriously. We've got a couple of teams here from across New South Wales who are working their way onto the boat, getting some last-minute instructions. This team here just finishing. We'll see if we can move up just a little bit further to have a look and listen. Let's see if we can head back down here. You can see one of the boats just finishing now. Again, as I mentioned, 3,000 people in what is proving to be one of the fastest growing sports in this country. And if you haven't heard of it, if you haven't paid much attention to it, you probably wouldn't know it exists other than maybe a ceremonial fashion. But these clubs take this very seriously. An hour and a half training a day, often 3 or 4 times a week. It's as much a social outing as it is for them a way to let off some competitive steam and get a pretty good workout as well. And as Chris told us earlier, it is people from just water leaking out of a pipe here. People from all ages, from late teens to I was told that there was somebody in their early 80s taking part in this as well. So very low impact, but you can get quite a workout in quite a short amount of time. This team is about to go out. Let's see if we can hear any last-minute instructions. Again, you're watching some of the boats that just completed a race here at the Dragon Boat Regatta that's being held here in Sydney, Darling Harbour to be exact. More than 3,000 athletes taking part in this event over a 2-day period. In an event that over 2 days will draw roughly 100,000 spectators alone. So it's a pretty amazing event. It's the kickoff for the City of Sydney's lunar events for this year, the start of the Chinese New Year here. As I'd mentioned, one of the largest Chinese New Year celebrations outside of China taking place in Sydney. You're watching CGTN on Facebook Live. As these boats are coming in, finishing a race, just over, I don't know how well you can see beyond the farthest part of your picture, another race is about to start. The boats are being lined up as soon as these move out of the way, the ones that have just finished this next race will give you an indication just how fast this race really is. We're told that these are taking place every 9 minutes, which is an incredible schedule considering people started at 8 o'clock here at Sydney this morning and will go right on into the early evening. 22 people in these boats. You've got 20 people rowing, 1 person on the drums, 1 person on the all-important steering. That is really what can make the difference in finishing first or second in this race, in these races. And as Chris, one of the athletes, one of the coordinators for the national team, was telling us, a blink, a sneeze, a cough, anything can actually cost you some valuable time when you consider how close these boats come as they cross the finish line. It makes a lot of sense. We've got a race happening just about to get underway. I think the final boat is getting into place. They will actually come by where we are here on this wharf. They hopefully will give you a little bit better glimpse of this. You can see all around this harbor we've got tents set up for this particular celebration. Water leaking out of a pipe right near. It's a very bizarre thing to have happen while this is taking place. This is still the early stage of this event. It is about 11 o'clock here in the morning on Saturday here in Sydney, where this event started just a few hours ago. So the majority of the public will probably be arriving later today and then into tomorrow, as well. As I said, a crowd of about 100,000 people is expected to watch this, and this is really the centerpiece of the early part of the City of Sydney's lunar celebration. There's the next group of teams, and we talked to several of these athletes throughout the morning, and one of the things that was consistent throughout is that they are here for one simple thing: to win. I was shocked at the level of competitiveness, remembering that this is a regatta, of course. It's also part of a New Year's celebration, but the amount of training that they put into this, they're not here just to show up. They're here for, to win in their class that they're participating in. All right, this race is about to get underway, and as they say, they're off. As they get a little bit closer, you get a better idea of just how much work this is. You're watching CGTN Facebook Live from Sydney in the midst of the Dragon Boat Regatta that's being held here. Splashing up, it is full on. And that's it. That race lasting, as I said, just about 50 seconds. So again, this event taking place here in Sydney over 2 days. If you get the chance, if you're in Australia, you get the chance to witness some of these races. It is definitely worth it. If you're unfamiliar with the sport, this will not only open your minds, but possibly get you a little interested in trying this. 3,000 athletes competing here over 2 days, 100,000 people enjoying all of this. I'm Navarro. You're watching Facebook Live on CGTN in Sydney.